For 25 years, the skies have been quiet. Too quiet. Since 1999, the United States Air Force has operated without a king. We have planes that are invisible, like the F-35. We have planes that can carry nuclear death, like the B-2. But we don't have a plane that can outrun a bullet. We convinced ourselves that speed didn't matter anymore. We said satellites could see everything. We said drones were the future. But recently, the rumors have started again. A shape seen on a radar in California. A budget line item for hypersonic intelligence. A statement from Lockheed Martin saying speed is the new stealth. The king is coming back. But to understand the future, to understand why the Air Force is suddenly obsessed with Mach 5 and beyond, you have to understand the anomaly of the past. You have to understand the plane that was so fast it broke the concept of air warfare. The plane that was built with a slide rule in the 1960s, yet still looks like it landed from the year 3000. This is the SR-71 Blackbird. It is the only aircraft in history that never lost a single pilot to enemy fire. Over 4,000 missiles were fired at it, none of them connected. It flew so high that the pilots wore spacesuits. It flew so fast that the air in front of it turned into plasma. This is the story of the plane that made speed irrelevant by winning the race so hard nobody else even bothered to run. In the late 1950s, the CIA had a problem. Their spy plane, the U-2, was getting shot down. They needed a plane that was untouchable. They went to Kelly Johnson, the legendary head of Skunk Works. They said, "Build us a plane that flies at Mach 3. That is 3 times the speed of sound, over 2,200 miles per hour. A rifle bullet travels at 1,700 miles per hour. Kelly Johnson looked at the math and realized this isn't an aerodynamics problem, it is a heat problem. When you fly at Mach 3, the friction of the air hitting the plane creates insane temperatures. The nose of the jet hits 800 degrees Fahrenheit. If you built the SR-71 out of aluminum like a normal plane, it would melt. It would literally disintegrate in midair. So they needed titanium, but the United States didn't have enough. Do you know who did? The Soviet Union. So the CIA did something hilarious. They set up fake shell companies in Europe. They bought the titanium from the Russians, shipped it to America, and used it to build the spy plane that would spy on the Russians. But working with titanium was a nightmare. They had to invent entirely new tools just to screw the plane together. And then there was the leaking. If you ever see a Blackbird in a museum, look at the floor. There are drip pans everywhere. Why? Because when the plane flies at Mach 3, the metal panels expand. If they built the fuel tanks sealed tight on the ground, they would rip open in the air. So they designed the plane to be loose on the ground. The fuel leaked out of the cracks constantly. It was a plane that only worked when it was burning. On the runway, it was a leaking, creaking mess. But at 80,000 feet, the heat sealed the gaps, and it became the most efficient machine ever made. To push this titanium brick to Mach 3, they needed the Pratt & Whitney J58 engine. Above Mach 2, the engine changed its personality. It used massive spikes in the front of the intake that moved back and forth to manage the shock wave. At full speed, the engine was basically a controlled explosion. The afterburner was lit continuously for hours. But this power came with a terrifying risk called the Unstart. Imagine driving a car at 2,000 miles per hour and suddenly one of your tires explodes. If the shock wave inside the engine became unstable, the nose of the plane would snap sideways. The pilot's head would slam into the side of the cockpit so hard it could crack the helmet. This is why the pilots were the elite of the elite. They wore pressure suits, the same ones used on the space shuttle. At 85,000 feet, the air pressure is so low that your blood will literally boil at body temperature. They were essentially astronauts flying a reusable spaceship. Pilots reported that at that altitude, the sky wasn't blue, it was black. They were flying on the absolute edge of space. So, what was it like to face this thing in combat? For the enemy, it was frustrating. In 1986, over Libya, the Blackbird was fired upon. The pilot didn't evade, he didn't drop flares, he just pushed the throttle forward. The missiles were flying at Mach 3. The Blackbird accelerated to Mach 3.3. The missiles simply ran out of fuel trying to catch up. The Blackbird was the only weapon in history where the defense was simply leave. It made the concept of interception irrelevant. So, why did we stop? In 1999, it was retired for good. The Air Force decided that speed was dead. They bet everything on satellites and stealth. But recently, the equation changed again. Competitor nations started building hypersonic missiles and anti-satellite weapons. Suddenly, satellites are vulnerable. Suddenly, stealth can be detected. The Air Force remembered the old lesson: you can't kill what you can't catch. This is why the King is returning. They aren't bringing back the original SR-71. They're building its successor, the SR-72, son of Blackbird. Lockheed Martin has hinted that this new plane is already in testing. It won't fly at Mach 3, it will fly at Mach 6. That is 4,600 miles per hour. It will be unmanned. It will use a scamjet. The original Blackbird made speed irrelevant by being faster than the threats of the 70s. The new generation is trying to make speed irrelevant by flying faster than physics seems to allow. No matter what the future holds, the SR-71 will always stand alone. It was the last time that raw mechanical power was the answer to everything. The King might have a successor coming, but there will never be another Blackbird.